consent to recording, please feel free to leave now. Uzir, I want to start by thanking you for joining this session and sharing your experiences. What are you up to now, and what are you working on? What are you learning?
So right now, I'm at Microsoft. I'm doing Copilot Studio. I work on the front end side. I do a bunch of side projects as well still.
Could you tell me a little bit about your developer journey to Microsoft?
Yeah, so I graduated in 2017. So I had to go on this whole journey of like trying to find a job. So I applied to almost like 100, 200 companies, I think. And I got maybe 6 replies back. And then I got 3 actual interviews. And then eventually I was able to grab one of them where I became like a security kind of like person who just gives roles to people. And I could see that this role was going to be like automated really soon because I met the guy who's actually automating these things. Then next, I got an interview from Kirkwood Community College where I got an interview from them. I did the interview. They really liked me. I got an offer. And within the week that I started at the other company, giving roles to people, I started at Kirkwood Community College. Once I got there, I thought I was going to be doing just the same regular tech support kind of things. But eventually, we started a project where we were able to create a holistic student experience. And we created this thing called My Hub, where now all these students are able to do everything that they used to do in person digitally. And so we were able to push that all the way through. We had really good leaders. We had really good tech stack, which was completely brand new from the start. So we got to see how everything gets put together, and we were able to like really work on the product. So we used Vue and we used C# for our backend and .NET, and we used SQL for our database. Then once we got through there, I had a little more time. I started doing like more interview prep kind of thing because I wanted to, get some more experience somewhere else also to see how other people do their things. But I think Kirkwood really solidified my understanding of how products work and how to build that product from scratch and how to actually create something that's worthwhile and more positive for the business. And then, so then after that, I did all these side projects where I worked with some startups. I met this guy from Deets app where he was like, hey, like I'm working on this app and you're a developer. And I talked to him about a few things and he was like, I really like you. Like you need to work with us. Like you have to help us. And I was like, sure, that sounds good. So I helped him like build a few things on admin panel, all for free. Like I wasn't expecting anything back. Eventually he was like, dude, I have to pay you. And I was like, sounds okay, that sounds great. So then eventually it just happened. And then after that, I worked with some other people to build another thing. I did like maybe 2 or 3 projects just doing like that. And then after that, I was like, I need to move because my visa is ending. So I had to move to a bigger company where they would be able to sponsor my visa and everything. And so that's when I targeted pretty much Microsoft, where I was like, I have to get in here.
So how long did you prep, you said, for the Microsoft technical rounds, like lead code, kata, that kind of thing? How long did you dedicate to this?
Just for the interview prep, probably I did about 8 or 9 months. But my journey to get to Microsoft was I had to do a bunch of interviews first to actually practice to get through the technical rounds at Microsoft, right? So in order to do that, I pretty much just applied anywhere that I could possibly get a job through my project. I solidified my resume. I worked with some people to get my resume fixed up. I got it pretty solid, and I thought that it would get a bunch of interviews, and pretty much it did. Like I got through the first, interviews. I failed most of them, which was so funny because these guys asked me a bunch of questions, and I was like, okay, I know this one, but then they asked me the second question. I was like, I don't think I can solve this. Went back, and then I relearned all of those things, and then I figured out, okay, if I just keep doing these interviews, it'll give me some more practice on the field where I'm in that situation and it keeps me calm. And then after that, where I can actually uh, experience the questions and I can understand what kind of questions they're asking, then I can go back and figure out, okay, I need to learn this. And so I like learning through video and seeing what's happening. And so I went back and I learned all the different types of algorithms and then did that grokking the coding interview and all of that stuff, the different strategies that you can use. I memorized all of those. And then I just understood how the problem worked. And then after that, I got a chance and I took it, and it's when opportunity meets preparation, right? When that whole thing combines, then that's when you can actually move through. And then I got the main interview loop after that, and I was able to pass most of them. The last one I kind of like jumbled up, but I got through and they offered me the job, and I was like, this is amazing. Yeah. So that's my kind of like my journey in a quick summarized sense.
Yeah, what a ride, Uzir. That Kirkwood Community College. Shout out to Kirkwood Community College for
Yeah.
giving you a chance to build a project with such wide scope of responsibilities. I'm sure you did work in all parts of the stack. You used we, but I think you had a large part in their success. So, for those who don't know, how did we meet?
I actually found I know I found you on LinkedIn, maybe. I can't remember. I know
Yeah,
we've
it's
been
been
on
so long.
LinkedIn for a while, right? Like I can't remember how we have not met in person, I know that.
No,
But I
yeah.
remember seeing you on like a video or something, and I found your Ruby what is it called? Violet Rails, right? And
Ah,
so
okay.
I looked at that and I was like, this guy looks like he's doing something similar to what I want to do. Like he's doing business stuff. And I know you had like those meeting things. So I was like, yeah,
Yeah,
why not meet with him and see what he's
yeah, we
actually
did.
doing,
Yeah,
Right. So
yeah,
I
career
decided to meet with
accelerator.
you. Yeah.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
that's
That
how
I
we
in
met, I think, in for like in all over Google Meets.
yeah. So a part of that is what I'm doing right now for job seekers and helping them land more interviews and clear technical rounds. So
Hmm.
what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to systematize what worked for us because I see a lot of overlap in what we've done and where we've ended up. Is there any advice you can give to people looking to break into big tech in 2024 based on what you've seen?
I think it's more of like right now there's so many people in the job market that like even my manager, like he had some openings open recently, and I think we had like two or three openings, and he said there's so many people in the job market that he's getting flooded with so many applications that he can't choose, and they're all really good, right? Whereas you have your principal software engineers applying for senior roles, you have your senior software engineers applying for developer two roles, where it just they can't match up the right people for the right role because they'll move up too fast, or they won't be too intrigued enough, and then it just becomes the whole problem then, right? Whereas if you have the right amount of experience on your resume and you apply for the right role, I think that really helps. Also, knowing someone definitely helps who is on that team. Like if you can connect on LinkedIn somehow and just talk to this person and be like, hey, I saw like maybe your manager is hiring, then you'll get an in with the person. But you never know, because the if you've never met that other person, you've never worked with them, like they might be like, why would I tell my manager about you, right? So that's the hard part. I think it's mostly you got to meet people and actually um, be able to like showcase your value to them. I think that's how I started with the Deeds app, and I just met him one day. He posted something on this Iowa. like there was this big derecho storm that happened in Iowa, and a whole bunch of people, like there was no power, there was no water, nothing else. So then on the Deets app, you could see what's happening in real time. So all these like things popped up in real time on the map, and he was able to, show people where water is, where people have electricity. People were posting on the app saying like, "Hey, we got this here, we got this here, we got this here." And I saw that on Facebook where he had posted about the Deets app, and I was like, "Hey, I've made something similar like this with just maps." And so he was like, "Dude, we should meet." And then I met him, and then eventually it turned into a whole thing. And then, yeah, he put me on as a contractor, and I was like, "This is good. Like, it's pretty nice." So I think that's how you meet people. And he used to work at Microsoft, so he was like, "I can help you with your resume and everything. Like, I can't do any like I can't tell anything about the managers or anything because there's so many positions to apply to at Microsoft, and his team didn't have an opening. So yeah, but he was like, "Yeah, I can help you with everything," and that's how he helped me with my resume. And then after that, I was able to get more interviews. So I think the resume really helps. If you have enough projects and if you apply to the right role, you should be able to get there.
Yeah, so that's the trend I'm seeing as well. I think you hit the nail on the head. There's a lot of supply. There are people, principal engineers, looking to move down, land anything kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I see this, and yeah, perfect points. Apply for jobs that you're actually qualified for,
Mm-hmm.
and don't try to downgrade from where you are or
Yeah.
try to go for like a huge jump. It's possible, but try to keep it lateral.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, and then second is have an optimized resume because there's a lot of noise
Mm-hmm.
and you need to know really like what to surface in your profile to speak the value that they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, it was leverage your projects to get visibility. So, building
Yep.
in public, talking about what you're building about. And I think one of the things here is you should spend just as much time marketing the product you've built or the project you've built as you've spent building it.
Yeah. I think that's a really good idea because you never know somebody like I remember this when I was in at Kirkwood and I just had some free time. I used to redesign websites just for fun. So I would take Facebook or something where I was like, this design like sucks. Like I really don't like it, right? So I found another design on uh, Dribble or the other website Behance, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna make this whole thing using Vue.js and Vuetify. And so I just went and started coding. I recorded the whole thing. I got like maybe 5 people contact me saying like, "Hey, like, can you help me with my website? And can you like, do something with this?" So I thought that was pretty cool. Like where people actually watched the thing, where I was like building it. I mean, it was like just 10 minutes long where I fast forwarded everything. It was like a time lapse basically, but you could see the progress that I was making in the screen. On the screen where you could see the old Facebook and you could see my new Facebook design, and I was just like making it exactly from component to component. And I thought people were pretty interested in that kind of things too, if you're doing front end at least.
Well, it's demonstrating it, right? And I'd love to get a link to that. I may have missed it, so I'd love to see it. And I think finally, it's leveraging your network and
Mm-hmm.
showing your personality.
Yep,
Yeah.
definitely. I think that's really important because you have to be able to learn and like just keep like a growth mindset where you want to be able to take in the feedback. You don't want to be, like you want to think about like why did they say this? Why don't they want to take me as a candidate? Like what happened? Just learn from your interviews that you're doing, and also the rejections. Like what could you improve to not get rejected, right? So every time it was like tweaking these small things on the resume, to figure out, oh, maybe this will work, maybe this will work. Like, yeah, even Square had an interesting way of doing their interviews and how they did their application, because you had to tell them like why you want to work for Square. And it was like, okay, it's a cover letter, but it's like a maybe 300-word cover letter max. Yeah.
Yeah, it's these are really good points. I'd love to share with you after when I put the system together,
Sure, sure.
which is essentially everything that we covered in this call. Is you need to think of experiments, think of this like A/B testing software. Is we send something out week over week, we collect stats, we see what's working, what's not working, make changes, experiment.
Hmm.
Second, we need to think of this like a game. It has to be fun. We need to find the flow that really keeps us going, right? As you
Yep.
mentioned, yeah, like not taking things personally, taking things like this is a challenge, just like the same way we write code and we love chasing that progress, fixing problems, getting different error messages, right? Things like that. I think if you enjoy that, if you're cut out for it, this is something you should like channel your mindset,
Yeah.
right?
And the other thing is like also, I mean, I can't share the same experience as maybe the people you're working with, because I had a job while I was applying. And so that really takes the pressure off from your head, right? Where it's like you can be like, I have a fallback if I don't get the job, and I have enough time to move through, whereas some people, like, they don't have enough time to go through and keep doing these things. And it's definitely really taxing if you're like stressed out about money and you're getting a job and everything, right? Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Every experience is unique. I think what you can do is come up with a structure that works for you. So if you have a time horizon in place, you need to have a plan to find success during that time horizon.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks so much for sharing your story and these tips, because it's going to help a lot of people, both through the content that I'm posting as well as the system, which you just help validate right now. The system I'm looking to share with people who are looking to sharpen their technical skills.